Have you ever wondered what it was like to walk with giants? Not dinosaurs, but magnificent mammals that roamed the earth during the last ice age. Today, we're diving deep into the world of mammoths, these incredible creatures that once dominated a frozen planet. We'll explore their lives, their immense diversity, the mysteries behind their extinction, and the ambitious scientific quest to bring them back. Let's start with a story. A personal story, frozen in time for 28,000 years. Meet Kik. That is the name scientists gave to a female woolly mammoth whose astonishingly well-preserved fossil was discovered in Alaska. But this wasn't just any fossil. By analyzing the isotopes in her massive tusks, researchers were able to read her life story like a diary. Each layer of tusk growth recorded where she went, what she ate, and even her health. Kik's story is one of constant movement. For 28 years, she trekked across the vast icy landscapes of ancient Alaska, covering distances that would rival the migrations of modern caribou. Imagine this giant shaggy beast traveling far enough to circle the earth almost twice in her lifetime. Her tusks tell us about her early years with her herd, her movements, and her diet. But they also tell a tragic final chapter. In her last winter, she journeyed into the harsh, food-scarce Arctic region, where she ultimately died of starvation. Kik's life gives us an incredibly intimate look at what it was like to be a mammoth during the Ice Age, but Kik was just one of many. The mammoth family was surprisingly diverse, with about 10 different species found across the globe. You had the true giants like the steppe mammoth and the Columbia mammoth. These were absolute behemoths, standing over 4 meters tall at the shoulder and weighing a staggering 10 to 12 tons. That's heavier than 2 large African elephants combined. They roamed the grasslands of Eurasia and North America, true kings of their domain. Then, on the other end of the scale, you had the dwarf mammoths. On islands like Crete in the Mediterranean, a fascinating evolutionary process called insular dwarfism occurred. With limited space and resources, mammoths evolved to be much, much smaller. The Cretan dwarf mammoth was barely taller than a large dog, a miniature version of its mainland cousins. It's a powerful example of how life adapts to its environment. Of course, the most famous of them all is the woolly mammoth, the one we all picture when we hear the name. Perfectly adapted to the freezing temperatures of the Ice Age, they were covered in a thick coat of fur, with some hairs reaching up to 30 centimeters long. Beneath that, they had a dense undercoat for extra insulation and a thick layer of fat, just like modern polar bears. They were the ultimate survivors of the cold. So if these mammoths were so successful and well adapted, where did they all go? Why did these giants vanish from the face of the earth? The answer is a 1-2 punch of climate change and human pressure. Around 12,000 years ago, the Ice Age began to end. The planet warmed, glaciers retreated, and the environment changed dramatically. The vast, dry grasslands that mammoths relied on for food, known as the mammoth steppe, were replaced by wet tundras, bogs, and dense forests. Their food source literally disappeared from under their feet. At the same time, a new and highly intelligent predator was on the rise: us. Early humans, known as Paleo-Indians, were skilled hunters. They followed the mammoth herds, relying on them for food, hides for shelter, and bones and tusks for tools and even art. While hunting alone might not have wiped them out, it added immense pressure to populations already struggling with a changing world. Most mammoth populations were gone by about 10,000 years ago. However, a small, isolated group of woolly mammoths managed to hang on for thousands of years longer. They found refuge on Wrangel Island, a remote outpost in the Arctic Ocean, but their isolation became their downfall. The small population led to severe inbreeding. Scientists studying their DNA found a genomic meltdown, a cascade of harmful genetic mutations that likely caused health problems, reduced fertility, and eventually sealed their fate. The very last woolly mammoth walked the earth on this island just 4,000 years ago, around the same time the Great Pyramids of Giza were being built. Even though the mammoths are gone, their legacy remains frozen in the earth, leading to a modern-day treasure hunt. In the vast remote wilderness of Siberia, a dangerous and lucrative trade has emerged. It's a rush for white gold mammoth tusks. As the permafrost melts due to climate change, it exposes the remains of countless mammoths. Tusk hunters, often working in perilous conditions, excavate these tusks from the frozen ground. They dig tunnels deep into the unstable permafrost, facing the constant risk of collapse. They endure extreme Arctic weather, and the threat of encounters with polar bears. There's even a theoretical risk of exposing ancient viruses that have been dormant for millennia. But the reward can be immense. A single well-preserved tusk can be worth tens of thousands, and some have sold for millions of dollars on the Asian market, where they are carved as a substitute for elephant ivory. It's a controversial industry, caught between providing a legal alternative to elephant poaching and the ethical and safety concerns of the hunt itself. But what if we could do more than just find their remains? What if we could bring them back? This isn't science fiction anymore. A company called Colossal Biosciences is leading an ambitious project to de-extinct the woolly mammoth. Their plan isn't to clone a mammoth, since we don't have a complete intact genome. Instead, they're using the revolutionary gene editing technology, CRISPR. The idea is to take the DNA of the mammoth's closest living relative, the Asian elephant, and edit its genome. They are identifying the specific genes that gave mammoths their unique traits like their shaggy fur, small ears, subcutaneous fat, and cold-adapted blood. By inserting these mammoth genes into an elephant embryo, they aim to create a hybrid animal that looks and acts like a mammoth. It would be, for all intents and purposes, a cold-resistant elephant. Why go to all this trouble? It's not just about creating a prehistoric theme park. There's a profound environmental goal. Scientists believe that reintroducing these large herbivores to the Arctic could help combat climate change. During the Ice Age, mammoths and other megafauna were ecosystem engineers. They trampled down snow, which allowed the deep cold to penetrate the ground and keep the permafrost frozen solid. They also cleared away moss and shrubs, promoting the growth of grasslands. Today, the Arctic is warming at an alarming rate. The thick layer of snow insulates the ground, causing the permafrost below to thaw. This releases massive amounts of trapped methane and carbon dioxide potent greenhouse gases. The theory is that bringing back mammoth-like animals could restore the ancient ecosystem. They would trample the snow, fell trees, and convert the tundra back into a carbon-sequestering grassland, helping to keep the permafrost frozen and the carbon locked away. It's a bold and audacious plan, and there are many ethical and practical questions. But the science is moving forward at an incredible pace. Colossal Biosciences is confident in their approach and has set a stunningly ambitious timeline. They hope to see the first hybrid mammoth elephant, calves born by the year 2029. We could be just a few years away from seeing a creature that hasn't walked the earth in 4,000 years. From the life story written in Kiza's Tusk to the modern gold rush in Siberia and the cutting-edge labs working to resurrect them, the story of the mammoth is one of epic scale. They were masters of the Ice Age, and even in their absence they continue to fascinate us and may even hold a key to protecting our future. What do you think? Should we bring the mammoth back? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the wonders of our world. See you next time.